Magic, White and Black, the Science on Finite and Infinite Life. Jacob Boehme teaches that of these 7 principles or natural qualities, the first and the 7th are one and refer to the Father. The 2nd and 6th as one refer to the Son, and likewise the 3rd and 5th to the Holy Spirit. It has been stated as follows. 1. A, the element of matter, Adsa, represented by earth. 2. AB, a combination of matter and soul known as the astral body, a mixture of earth and water. 3. B, the soul known as the perisprit or the animal principle in man, represented by water. 4. ABC, the essence of life, a combination of matter, soul and spirit, earth, water and fire. 5. AC, the mind, a combination of matter and spirit or earth and fire, the principle of intellectuality. 6. BC, the spiritual soul, a combination of soul and pure spirit or water and fire, the principle of spiritual intelligence. 7. C, pure spirit or fire, the incomprehensible first great cause. The division adopted by Paracelsus and in esoteric Buddhism is identical with the above, with the exception that the jiva or vitality is counted as the 2nd and the astral body as the 3rd principle, as follows. 1. The physical body, Sthula Sariram. 2. Vitality, Mumya. 3. Astral body, Sidereal body. 4. Animal soul. 5. Intellectual soul. 6. Spiritual soul. 7. Spirit. It is said that this division was also known to the ancient Jews, and that the Hebrew alphabet, consisting of 22 letters, was made with reference to it, because the 3 and 7 states produces 12 symbols, and 3 plus 7 plus 12 equals 22. Jacob Boehme describes the action of these 7 principles in his own way. He says, when the light was born at the center, the spiritual sun, and reacted upon the central fire, a terrible battle ensued, causing an igneous eruption, and from the sun proceeded a flash of storm and fire, an element called Mars. Taken captive by the light, it assumed a place and continues to agitate all nature. The light, having been enchained by Mars, proceeded further in the rigidity of the element of matter, Saturn, and became corporeal in forms. Above the element called Jupiter, in the astringent anguish of the whole body of this solar system, the sun was not powerful enough to mitigate the horror, and there arose Saturn, the element opposite to meekness, producing rigidity. The sun is the heart of nature, the center of life. Saturn represents corporeal nature or matter. Without the action of the life coming from the sun upon matter, there would be no production of forms. Venus is the daughter of the sun. She rises out of the water of the universe, penetrates the hard element of matter, and enkindles love. Mercury, like the others, an invisible element, represents the principle of sound or the word, by whose activity the sleeping germs of everything are awakened to life. Mercury is continually impregnated by the substance of the sun. In it is found the knowledge of that which existed before the light had penetrated into the solar center. The moon was produced directly from the sun at the time of his becoming material. The moon is the spouse of the sun. she is the Eve, who was made out of a part of Adam while the latter was asleep. In this classification, the sun represents wisdom, the moon, imagination, Mercury, the mind substance, Venus, the astral body, Mars, the principle of life, Jupiter, the element of power, Saturn, primordial matter. But the significations of these planets differ according to the aspects we take of them. All forms are the expression of either one or more of these elementary principles and exist as long as their respective principles are active in them. They are not necessarily visible because their visibility depends on their power to reflect light. Invisible gases may be solidified by pressure and cold and rendered visible and tangible, and the most solid substances may be made invisible and intangible by the application of heat. The products of cosmic thought are not all sufficiently materialized to be visible to the physical eye, and in reality we see only a very small part of their sum. No one doubts that there is an immense amount of invisible matter in the universe, whether cometary or otherwise, and every improvement in the manufacture of optic instruments brings new realms of forms and life to our perception. Each transformation of activity gives rise to changes of forms, and may bring new forms into existence. Solid ice may be transformed into invisible vapor and condensed again into a tangible form. The more matter expands and the more its motion is made active, the more will it escape the perception of the physical senses, but its expansion does not necessarily render it less powerful to act. Steam is more powerful than water, and overheated to a certain degree, it evolves electricity and may become very destructive. The more the element of matter is condensed, the more inert does it appear. The more it expands, the farther will its sphere of activity reach. All bodies have their invisible spheres. Their visible spheres are limited by the periphery of their visible forms. Their invisible spheres extend farther into space. Their spheres cannot be always detected by physical instruments, but they nevertheless exist, and under certain conditions their existence can be proved to the senses. The sphere of an odoriferous body can be perceived by the organ of smell, the sphere of a magnet by the approach of iron, the sphere of a man or an animal by that most delicate of all instruments, the abnormally sensitive brain. These spheres are the magnetic, caloric, odic, or luminous auras and emanations belonging to every object in space. Such an emanation may sometimes be seen as the aurora borealis in the polar regions of our planet, or as the photosphere of the sun during an eclipse. The glory around the head of a saint is no poetical fiction, no more than the sphere of light radiating from a precious stone. As each sun has its system of planets revolving around it, so each body is surrounded by smaller centers of energy evolving from the common center and partaking of the attributes of that center. Copper, carbon, and arsenic, for instance, send out auras of red. Lead and sulfur emit blue colors, gold, silver, and antimony green. And iron emits all the colors of the rainbow. Plants, animals, and men emit similar colors according to their characteristics. Persons of a high and spiritual character have beautiful auras of white and blue, gold and green in various tints. while low natures emit principally dark red emanations, which in brutal and vulgar or villainous persons darken almost to black, and the collective auras of bodies of men or plants or animals, of cities and countries, correspond to their predominant characteristics, so that a person whose sense of perception is sufficiently developed may see the state of the intellectual and moral development of a place or a country by observing the sphere of its emanations. These spheres expand from the center, and their periphery grows in proportion to the intensity of the energy acting within the center. Who can measure the extent of the sphere of thought and the depth of the regions to which it may penetrate? Who can determine the distance to which the power of will and love and spiritual perception will act? We know the sphere of a rose by the odor that proceeds from the latter. If we have the power to smell, we know the character of the mind of a man, if we enter the sphere of his thoughts, provided that our inner senses are sufficiently developed to become conscious of the state of his mind.